Second grade. That's different than my 7th grade.
It's like showtime.
He's loving it.
So that they wouldn't play the camera. So the same people that were on stage would play the audience in the room. And then my camera guys would take the shots that best illustrate what we need.
So she's, I think if this time she designed it, so we just leave and see where she, see everybody, focus out at the same time. This arrangement, but she checked out a couple of she complains. I got that down. Good. Oh, yeah. Thinking we'll be here physically. Based on the conversation we had. Well, text. Oh, really?
Oh, Corbin says she's almost here. She just sent me a text.
Okay. We'll wait a couple minutes. Sorry.
She's having trouble with her computer a little bit. She said, sorry, I said push down.
Claire, can you guys hear me now?
We can hear you, Claire.
Great. I don't see a webcam option. I do see the microphone now, though.
These are no longer, they're on webinar now as opposed to Zoom, so you don't come up as a picture on the screen like the Brady Bunch there. So we can see that you're here and
Okay.
allowing you to speak, so you're good to go. You can interject at any time.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody going to the Southfield High School theater production this weekend? Into the Woods? It's Friday and, no, it's next weekend. No, is it this weekend? I can't remember. No, it is this Friday and Saturday.
Who directed it, do you know?
No. We missed the productions last year. Just, sometimes I see the sandwich board, I don't get the emails because my daughter doesn't go to the school mail. Health school, so. Oh, you did? Yeah. I mean, we saw the Princess and the Pea a couple of years ago.
Princess and the Pea?
Yeah, something like that.
What is a Princess and the Pea?
Oh, you haven't heard that fairy tale? Do you have all boys?
I have girls.
Are you girls?
You'll know.
I mean, fairy tales are equal opportunity anyways.
She watches all Disney princess stuff.
Well, I guess a real princess, if there's a little teeny tiny pea underneath like 15 mattresses,
It's
she'll know.
The play, the musical's called Once Upon a Mattress.
That's what it was, yeah.
I think Carol Burnett won a Tony Award for that. I know Sarah Jessica Parker did. Use this information. Okay, I'll give her 2 more minutes and then we'll go.
I think she's out there.
Very nice.
Conservation? Yeah.
But he was still working.
Conservation's upstairs. You were doing the right thing. Conservation is upstairs.
Come on, Corbin. Okay, we can get started. It's record.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Recording in progress.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is the Kent Memorial Library Commission regular meeting, March 12th, 2024. I am Denise Booten. I am the chair of this committee. The time is 7:04. Before I take roll call, I'd like to introduce Chris Lambert, and she will be the secretary for the group, our new recording secretary. Roll call. Please just say here. Corbin Aguirre. Michael Alexopoulos.
Here.
Claire Belanco.
Here.
I'm here. Denise Booten. James Irwin.
Here.
Claire Kowalik.
Here.
Nina Kendrick.
Here.
Michelle Kennard.
Here.
Cameron Lisk.
Here.
Christine Sinopoli.
Here.
And Despina Tartsinas.
Here.
Jerry Mahoney is here from the Selectman's office. Selectman Jerry Mahoney, and Beth Chaffetz is the library administrator. I'd like to mention a couple of things before we get started on this meeting. Please raise your hand before you speak, so I can call on you. It may initially slow down conversation, but I think overall it'll make it more orderly, and I'll be certain that everybody gets an opportunity to talk. When there is a motion on the floor and you want to contribute, ask yourself before you contribute, is what you're saying contributing to the conversation about the motion? I think it's really easy to have a tendency to be thinking beyond the motion, especially if there's a next step situation, and it's understandable, but try to keep everything in perspective in relation to the motion. Lastly, please state your whole name when you talk, once you're called upon, so that it makes it easier for Chris to take minutes. Thank you.
Denise?
Yes.
I really appreciate you saying that because when I was new on planning and zoning, no one told me that you're supposed to wait to be recognized by the chair to speak. And I think it only adds order. It'll help to keep our meetings going more timely. And, you know, I am aware that we need to state our name, but I really appreciate the friendly reminder because we do want to make it easy for people to follow along, especially those that are online.
Great. Good, Christine. Yes, Corbin?
I think in a roll call we missed Buster.
No.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in a bit. Okay.
Denise?
Yes.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt
Not
after
at
what
all.
you just said. I did just test the raise hand button and I don't think anyone saw it. So how do you want me to proceed tonight?
Cameron, can you pay attention to Claire?
I can see it, Claire, I was just writing something, so.
Okay,
We'll
all
get
right.
you. We'll get you.
When she raises hers, and then I'll point.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you, sorry.
Thanks.
Approval of minutes, January 9th. Are there, someone would make a motion, that would be great. And if there are any corrections, please, let's discuss it.
Denise, do you want to do public participation first? That's the order on your agenda.
I'm so sorry, I apologize. Yes, public participation, no wonder everyone was looking at me like I was crazy. I have too much writing in here. The public is invited to participate if you have anything to say. Wow, okay. Moving on. Let's see, approval of minutes, January 9th, 2024.
Denise, I have my hand raised.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you. Claire Belanco. I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented and shared out by the chair.
Okay,
That,
Christine Sinopoli seconded that. in favor?
Discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Jim Irwin. Since I was the reason that these minutes were postponed, I would like to point out that, that I worked very hard putting together what I felt was a more, a set of minutes that more reflected just exactly how our session actually ran. Now, I am aware that the recommendations in Robert's Rules of Order recommend that they be more succinct than certainly what I had done. And they've actually ended up more succinct than what Corbin had originally done, because you're down to 3 pages. My only concern, and my concern when I was worried about the minutes to begin with, was aside from a couple of minor corrections, we also were not actually communicating as well the nature of the changes that we are moving the Library Commission towards adequately without having more of the actual discussion in there. That was what I was moving towards, and you, as you said in the cover letter that you sent out with it, it's not a reflection on my recent efforts to include more discussion. And I was also attempting to include more information. And at this point, as to the operational aspects of how we actually do our job here. And I think in the era of trying to be more transparent, that was what I was trying to communicate. That having been said, I do have a couple of minor corrections to the minutes, and I will make them very brief. Under the election of officers, as it's labeled on the revised minutes, XA.
Yes.
The nomination of Michael Alexopoulos by myself and the second by Despina was inadvertently omitted. And I believe that needs to be, no, Michael did decline, but that needs to be in there just for the sake of consistency, since Despina's nomination for secretary was also declined,
Yep.
and it was included. The other thing that was discussed at some length that I would like to clarify a little bit was that the commission decided, and this has been remedied by having Chris available now, but that the secretary would take minutes and that we would rotate that through the membership, alternating in alphabetical order. And because Jerry's been volunteering to do it, we kind of weren't following that. And now it seems that now that we have a recording secretary, we don't need to. So that was, however, left out of the discussion. Other than that, the one thing that I think should have been included, which is a little bit of a detail, was there was further discussion about next steps. And if I was a member of the public, some sort of an explanation as to what we are talking about for next steps. In this particular instance, to include an executive session for HR to present the candidate to the commission, I think would be all that needed to be said to clarify what we were anticipating the next steps to be.
Okay.
And that way, as you and I both know, having listened to the tapes many times, that would communicate to the public what we were actually about without them having to go through that like we did.
Okay.
Those are the extent of my corrections.
Christine?
I have a comment. I have the unabridged Robert's Rules, but I also have Robert's Rules of Order newly revised and brief. And section B, prepare draft of minutes. It states that the duty people most commonly think of in connection with the secretary is drafting of the minutes or official record of each meeting. Frequently, secretaries make unneeded work for themselves by putting far more into the minutes than is required or appropriate. The most frequent mistakes are trying to summarize the reports offered and arguments made in debate, and including all of the amendments and other secondary motions. In fact, in standard form, the minutes should generally include only what was done, not what was said. And done and said are both in italics, meaning there's emphasis given to them. So really, it's, and others have stated this, it is nice to have an actual citation, which I'm sharing with you, because the whole minutes issue has become burdensome. I mean, even to the point where we're spending the town's money. And you know what, maybe we need to do it for a year, but you know, we need to probably get back to a commission member doing it at some point. But we've got other issues, we're trying to focus on those issues. And Jim, I do appreciate that to an extent you have recognized that, but I would really like to see these just stick to actions that were taken.
Thank you, Christine. Claire?
Sorry, I forgot to lower my hand. I'll set here.
First time I ever called on the hand.
I know, I gotta pay more attention, sorry.
Jerry?
So, I'm not clear on what Jim's motion is. There was some explanation about, in particular, a second part of his motion. I'm not clear what the motion is.
I was simply commenting on the motion that was on the floor as part of the discussion of approving the minutes.
Okay. Any other comments?
So
Yes,
Um,
Christine?
I would be comfortable with including under XA, the,
Michael?
the nominate, because that would be consistent, and I think consistency is important.
Yep.
But as far as the next steps, I don't think that that was something that was actually done or voted on. So that I would question.
Okay.
Because I think we do need to get these minutes down to, you know, concise. And we have a great benefit in that we have the town recording. And I would urge people to listen to it. And a lot of times you can, once in a while you can't scrub ahead, but most of the time you just use your finger. If you can't listen to all of it, sometimes, you know, if it's a 2-hour meeting, just do half at a time. The recordings are a great benefit.
Okay, I see another correction. Under public comment, John Gracie said he should be inserted, curious. And I assume I have to do something like revised by Denise Booten at the end of it before it's submitted. All right. So a motion is on the table. It's been seconded. We're here. Are we going to vote on these changes?
Can you restate the motion that we're voting on, please?
Who made it? Claire. Claire, you want to restate the motion?
Sure.
Thank you.
So I motion to approve the minutes as presented by the chair.
And that was seconded by Christine. Okay. Yes?
My question would be, at least the changes that are agreed to, are we also going to include those as well? And does that require an amended motion?
Yes.
So I would be agreeable to only the nomination of Michael Alexopoulos. And then the
The corrections.
grammatical stuff is like, yeah, that's a no-brainer. But can someone state a phrase for that before we incorporate that into a motion, please? Could you please repeat that, Jim? Or, I'm sorry, Denise.
No, it's okay, because all I wrote down was Michael Alexopoulos. He was nominated by...
And seconded by Despina, or?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
The nomination of Michael Alexopoulos as chair was made by Jim Irwin, and it was seconded by Despina, and Michael declined.
What was that position, though?
That was chair.
Chair.
That was the chair.
Yes.
So, if I may, if we're adding that into the minutes, I think that we should be clear that that motion was made while there was a pending motion for Denise to be the chair. So, I'm not sure that the motion has to be there since it was out of order, but if we're going to include it, it should be clear that the motion was made after the motion for Denise to be chair.
Michael?
Michael Alexopoulos, I don't mean to be self-serving, but actually it was made before you were proposed.
Okay. That's what I recall, this is Despina Tarsenis. I thought it was made before the motion for you, Denise. But again, luckily now, I will comment, luckily we do have the recordings now that we can go back to. For a very long time, we didn't. And while it may seem tedious to have minutes that accurately portray the actions and the discussion of our meetings, that was because we didn't have recordings in the past. So if the commission in general wants to move forward without having that, discussion overviewed in our minutes, I suppose that's fine, but that was the reason why we've done that in the past and had, I don't wanna say more accurate, but just a little bit more lengthy minutes, because we didn't have the benefit of having a recording to go back to.
Sure, and I understand that. I do think having a secretary that is addressing all of the actions.
Yep.
That is not part of the committee will be helpful on many levels. I think it will require that we, because, okay, let me explain this. I think one is, we're not dealing with people, we keep switching off, and that's a big problem. And it's hard if you're not used to doing them to know when you have to stop and because you've overblown and made this thing giant size. But I also think that when the person is part of the commission, there's more likely to be bias, and I don't even think it has to be intentional. I think it's a hearing thing half the time. You've got something in your head, and that's the thing that you glom onto. So I think by doing it the way we're approaching it, I think it will be useful. I think it'll make a big difference, and we'll see. At least Chris knows her stuff, and that's wonderful. So, okay, how do I proceed? So, do we need to vote on the amendments? Or just incorporate them and vote on it as amended? Just incorporate them
Well,
as,
I think it's Claire's motion, so if Claire wants to amend the motion, she should be in charge of
thank you.
doing that.
Claire?
What, are we only amending it with the Michael Alexopoulos nomination?
Yep, and
I'm just trying to follow along, that was the amendment?
that was the amendment. A word needs to be added in the public comment section regarding John Gracie. Said he was curious about, needs to be added.
So how about this, how about I withdraw my motion, and then, if someone else wants to
Formulate
make
one.
it.
Okay. Christine?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the January 9th, 2024 minutes with the grammatical correction under number 2, public comment, to insert was. John Gracie said he was curious. And then also to include language. This would be coming at the beginning, right after 1A, I'm sorry, XA,
XA?
right, because Michael did, okay. So, and then we would add language, Jim Irwin nominated Michael Alexopoulos for chair, seconded by Despina Tarsenis. Michael Alexopoulos declined, and that's it.
And,
I'll second that motion,
wait, hang on.
Claire Blanco.
And hang on, Claire, thank you.
Okay,
And I need to include revised by Denise Bouton at the end of the minutes,
Okay,
okay?
and revised by Denise Bouton at the end of the minutes.
Yep, with Jade. Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Claire
Thank you.
Blanco.
Okay. Can we take a vote? All those in favor? Say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Opposed?
Jim, opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Moving on. Okay. Communications received. Okay. Two of these, I guess just one of them was a conversation that I had, but I wanted to share it with everybody. About a week, not about, a week and a day ago, Sue Irwin called me, I think in some ways to chat, just to chat, but she also called me and informed me that she had filed 3 complaints with the state FOI commission, and I think the library commission as well. I'm not quite sure how that works. I don't know the exact nature of the complaints, but I do think it's important for everyone here to understand that when complaints are issued and the FOIA commission deems it worthy to ask people, worthy to talk to people, think that it's a complaint that has some teeth, the person who does represent the commission is the chair. And what that means is that if we are found guilty of whatever the offense is, I go and testify in front of the FOIA commission. I am also quite possibly liable for any fines, or at least some fines that may come with a guilty decision. I'm sharing this just so you know. I'm not trying to discourage you from being a chair at some point in your life. This has been quite an education. But I think it's important that you realize that. And the fines have gone up, from what I understand, but that's not unusual. Okay, the second issue that she brought up is that she had requested and received the resumes of the newest members of the commission. I assume the personal information such as phone number and email addresses were included in the released information, and I also assume the cover letters were part of the FOIA request as well. I chose not to share this with the new members of the commission at that time. One, because it was before a meeting, and I was concerned that some people would be freaked out. And the other is because I want to make sure that everything that she had said to me is accurate, and apparently it was. And I guess that's it. Jerry.
Okay, so, Madam Chair, if I'm understanding you correctly, you received a call from the wife of a commission member informing you that this person had filed 3 complaints with the FOI commission against you, is that correct?
Yes.
She did not give you a copy of the complaints, did she?
No.
Her husband, the commission member, has not provided you a copy of the complaints, has he?
No.
Okay, you haven't been notified of any complaint by the FOI commission yet, have you?
No.
As you sit here right now, you don't know whether the complaint was or complaints were actually filed, or whether the person was just saying this to you for whatever reason?
No, I don't know.
All right. And while these complaints are pending, the commission member, for example, tonight has offered amendments to minutes while the complaints are pending, and no one here on the commission knows what the complaints are. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And Madam Chair, you are a Republican, is that correct?
Yes.
And the commission member in question is a Democrat, is that correct?
Excuse me, but I don't believe that I'm in question. I'm not responsible for
Excuse
any
me,
action
Mr. Irwin,
taken
I
by
have
my
the floor
wife.
currently, I have the floor, is that right? Okay. So the commission member in question is a Democrat, is that correct?
I think so, I don't know.
And in the 2 years before you were a member of this commission, Christine Snopley here was a member of the commission. She was on the losing end of a lot of 9-2 votes, 10-2 votes, 9-1 votes, 10-1 votes. The chair at that time refused refused to appoint her as chair of the Personnel Committee. The commission refused to put her on the search committee. But when a Democrat chair of the Personnel Committee held a meeting that to form a search committee which did not comply with the FOI, okay, and there were violations in the formation of the search committee, Ms. Sinopoli did not file any complaint at that time with FOI Commission, did she?
I
That
don't
you're
know.
aware of?
I don't know.
Okay, and going back to October of 2021, there was a member of the commission, a Democrat, who gave a very spirited speech at a meeting. And among other things, that commission member said that there was a library employee who quit the employee's job at the library on the advice of the person's medical doctor, thereby the commission member disclosing protected health information about that employee in violation of the town code of ethics. And at that time, there was no person, no Republican, or any person who, to your knowledge, filed any complaint with the Ethics Commission, was there?
I don't know.
There was no member of the Board of Selectmen who acted to remove that person from the Library Commission under the procedure allowed by the charter, to your knowledge, was there?
I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay, Corbin.
Corbin, did you get what was the timeline? I'm sorry, I missed that part. When were you approached?
She called me last, not yesterday, but the Monday before, the previous Monday, before we had our last meeting.
I just don't know the timeline of the FOIA response, or do you know have any idea just when they would be contacting you, or does anybody know?
I have no idea. I'm guessing there are a lot of them. Usually it's disgruntled employees that have been sacked or left a job, and I don't know what they're gonna do with the information, but this is just my understanding. I'm not a FOIA expert, obviously. Or somebody who wanted a job, and so they'll FOIA somebody's resume who got the job, which I assume is for personal edification. But I know nothing about the timelines or anything like that.
Okay.
It's just something that sort of hangs over your head.
Okay, I will go sit with you if you need a buddy, if you have to go
That's
for it.
sweet, thank you. Christine, with your hand up.
Oh, I just wanted to add that the questions that Jerry was asking of Denise, I could fill in that no actions were taken against any Kent Memorial Library Commission members.
Okay. Yes, Camp.
Claire.
Claire.
Hi, Claire Belanco. Just a question, Denise or anyone, I don't know if you know this, but the personal information that was released on us as commissioners, I guess, is every data point appropriate to be released, or are certain things supposed to be redacted? Do we know if the correct process was followed there? And if not, how can we find out?
Okay, well, I think I can answer the first part, and that is that, I assume the information was released. It's not, I'm looking at the screen and nobody's there, so I assume the information was released with the resumes. It is possible, and I know this is the case with the state, because my husband worked at the state for 30 years, it is possible to have policies that don't allow for certain information to go out. I don't think we have that policy here. I do think that it's probably something that needs to be looked at. But like phone numbers and, more personal information. But the resumes are accessible to anybody who requests them through FOIA, and the people who are releasing the resumes cannot ask any questions as to why that person wants them, and the person who wants them doesn't have to say why they want them. That is my understanding.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All done, okay. Next, communication received. I received an email yesterday from Kathy Dunai, effective 3/8/24. Lester Webb has resigned from the KML Commission. I have no other information for you on that. Lastly, I received an email from Rebecca Osliger. She's the Director of Technology at the Suffield Public Schools. This came in yesterday as well. She would like to dialogue with the library staff about network security issues and needs. I thought a starting point for that conversation would be our Technology Commission, and I am recommending that Cam, you meet with her, have a conversation with her, and I will give you her information, and she knows this. I told her that.
Okay.
Okay? And as far as I know, there are no other communications. Report of the library director / administrator, Beth Chaffetz.
Good evening. Been an interesting month, been a busy month. Did everybody get one of these, or at least the front one? Yeah, I apologize, for whatever reason, most of them didn't get the second half or the back side printed, so. But just brief statistics for February. As you can see, the total print was down slightly, but compared to last February, it's up considerably, almost 30%, as is digital. So, the door count, we have a door counter that tells us how many people come in the building. We've got about 15,000 people who were in and out. Yeah, Christine.
And I realize I haven't been identifying myself all night. This is Christine Sinopoli. I was just curious on the door count.
Yeah.
Because Les Webb and I both volunteered for the book collection Saturday.
I heard.
So, yeah, he really did a lot of work. Was lifting a lot of heavy boxes, was very helpful. I just wondered, is the door counter suspended? Because there's a lot of like in and out, back and forth. I was just wondering.
I don't know that it's downstairs. I think it's upstairs.
Oh, the
I know
counter's
there's a
upstairs.
counter when you come up through the long foyer entrance there where all the
Okay.
windows are. There's one
Gotcha.
on either side of that.
Okay.
So I'm never quite sure whether this should be a halved number or not, because people are coming in and out, but you're also coming in another, I mean, we have, how many entrances we have to this building? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 entrances to this, and exits to this building. So it's more of an estimate than anything else. Website visits, over 12,000 visits this year, 4,600 this month. Constant Contact, I don't know if any of you guys are on Constant Contact, but it's a really good way to keep sort of connected to what's going on. 278 reference questions, which means whoever is sitting at the reference desk, they get the initial call when somebody calls the library, and then they direct it in whatever direction needs to be directed. If somebody's got a CERT question or a KID question or whatever, it goes to those desks. But most of the reference questions have to do with things that people want to know about related to town. One-on-one tech help. Hunter Sangiovanni, who is a young person who does a lot of our tech stuff and runs a couple of classes for it. I think it's every other Wednesday. He's available, and he gets a line of people who come in to have questions about, who don't have computers at home or are having trouble with it, and he's a big help. What else? Historical room. They've had 2. That's a slower group, but it's usually when anybody comes in there, it's a long period of time that they're there because there's a lot of research that's going on. Instagram, which I had to ask about because I don't know anything about Instagram. There are 19 posts that they put up this month, and they had over 2,700 impressions, connections to those posts. Most of which had to do with the most popular was the Distinguished Young Woman of Connecticut, which is it Christine or Cassandra Victor Vega? Christine Victor Vega, very accomplished young lady. The Facebook views are up 44% from last month. So that's sort of a statistical look at the month. As far as personnel is concerned, there is a candidate who is being vetted for clerk. She was offered the position. She's going to start Monday, so that part is really good. However, we had just lost our assistant circulation person. She just resigned. Her last day is Thursday. So we're going to be looking for, and that is a union position that is a guaranteed 16 hours, so we're going to be looking for somebody to fill that hopefully soon. And hopefully my fondest wish is that we have a director soon as well. As far as the facility, we're still gathering data to determine the programming numbers for EPA. That's ongoing. And then, since most of you don't have the back page, items of note, 12 adult programs this month with 51 in attendance. The adult winter reading program, which is funded by the Friends of the Library, had 276 people registered. They had hoped for 250, so that's a good thing. 565 raffle ticket entries with 3 prizes. Four programs, which included Leap into Crafting, so I'm on the back page now, which you don't have. Fraud prevention, Qigong, and the wrap-up program. There were 2 teen programs this month, which I believe both of those are run by Hunter San Giovanni. There were 18 children's programs with over 1,100 attendees. The Children's Winter Reading Program wrapped up, again, funded by the Friends of the Library. And the raffle tickets, 186 the first week, 124 the second, 202 the third, and 129 for a total of 641 tickets. They had a scavenger hunt, they had a Lunar New Year program, a Riverside Reptile program that had over 100 people. It was a mob scene. He was very popular. And Miss Wendy's hair color contest, she had a jar, her hair is either purple or blue, and the kids got to pick what color it was, and it is now purple. We had 3 intergenerational programs with 75 people in attendance. And as a note, a donation of old Suffield photos was made by a journalist from the Journal-Inquirer. The Journal-Inquirer was bought out by another company, and apparently when they were going through, when they moved headquarters, they discovered these boxes of Suffield photos, which they donated to the historical room. So Wendy's been having a really good time going through those. And they received a donation from Rachel Kawai, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, who wrote a book about her ancestor who was one of the original settlers of Suffield. So that's where we are. I will say my month and a half there has been a really positive experience. The staff is incredible, and with trying to fit the work that they have to do and the coverage that they have to have with the reduced staff is very heartwarming, but it's frustrating too. So I'm hoping that, things are moving along with what's going on with the director search, so, yeah.
So I was at the library last Wednesday for the Friendly Fibers, the needlepoint arts group that Anna Zaraki does, and so I was able to see Beth firsthand, and so we really do appreciate that things are running very smoothly in your leadership and your management capabilities. And then I just wanted to ask, could you please email this? Usually Julie
Yeah,
would
I tried to email it to Denise so she could give it to you. So
Okay, at some point I would like just
to,
for my records to
Yeah.
have the rest of it, but thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments? Thank you, Beth.
You're welcome.
Okay, standing committee reports, any? No. Special committee reports, interim search committee, Christine?
Okay, so I do have some news. Karen Ziemba told me that it was a very hot job market. Candidates number 2 and number 4 have withdrawn. They're no longer active, so we know where we stand. However, candidate number 3 is still active, and we've scheduled, or Karen has scheduled, an interview for Thursday, March 21st at 10 a.m. in the morning. This will be an interview, 30 to 45 minutes long, and I would like the search committee to arrive at 9:30 a.m. for the, to be prepared for the 10 a.m. interview.
Yes, I'm sorry, Claire.
That's okay. Clerk Wallach, Christine, you didn't reach out to any of us for availability regarding that once you talked to Karen? Because this is the first I'm hearing of this. And I would have to leave work to attend. Christine?
So we have a situation where we are desperately trying to go through the process and keep it moving along. And I appreciate that all the members want to be present for interviews, but I think being on a search committee, you have to know that interviews, they just have to get scheduled. I can remember when I was interviewing for jobs, they would call me and say, look, we're doing interviews on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We have three slots. These are the times, you know, these 2 days. I mean, I did say to Karen, over the next 2 weeks, she also is taking some vacation time that's already scheduled. You know, I said, you know, just put some time out there and get this done, because conditions just are not ideal. And it is in the morning. I mean, people, there's also the logistics of traveling. In fairness to interviewees, I mean, nobody wants an interview at, you know, 6, 7 o'clock. I mean, there's the logistics of traffic.
Claire?
Clerk Wallach again. Okay, are you using the same questions that we previously used, or how are the questions for that being developed or designed?
I just got those, and so I have to read through those.
Okay, or is the subcommittee going to attempt to meet to?
Considering the restrictions of time, perhaps we can do it via email.
Jim Irwin, also a member of the interim search committee. This is a little outside the norm in terms of the collaborative effort that I usually expect from the search committee, and it seems to almost be, I won't go so far as to call it a search dictatorship, but there seems to be an awful lot of liberty being taken by the chair, who was not even, as I recall, voted against the establishment of this committee. So I'm a little concerned that she is not working in the best interests of the rest of us that are anticipating participating in this process.
Jerry?
Right, so point of order, it's completely inappropriate to make a comment like that about what is motivating a member of a commission. That's completely inappropriate.
I apologize, Jerry, you're right.
Claire?
Christine, Clerk Wallach, Christine, can you just repeat the time and date?
Again, the interview for candidate number 3 is set for Thursday, March 21st at 10 a.m. We would be getting together for 9:30 a.m.
And where?
It will be at the library in the art gallery area. So that will be siphoned off so that there's privacy.
Thank you.
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
I'm sorry. Has Wendy been notified of being on the committee? Does she know she's going to be on the committee?
Karen is aware that Wendy is on the panel, on the
Right,
interim panel
right.
or committee.
But has anybody told her?
Well, I mean, things have just transpired today. It was just nailed down, so, I mean, she will be told, we'll make sure that she knows first thing tomorrow morning then.
All right, well, I can tell her first thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Karen probably will, like, for the official.
Anybody else's hand up? Okay. Moving on. Unfinished business, funding and staffing document.
Okay, so
Jerry.
Jerry Mahoney, this was a document that I prepared. We discussed it last month. Commissioner Irwin did point out that I had an error in the DRG. I called it District Resource Group. The actual name is District Reference Group. I like my name better, given what it actually does. However, Jim is correct that it's District Reference Group. Other than that, I would ask the commission to direct that I'll make that change, and then have the document provided to the staff, and have the document appended to the minutes of the meeting here tonight, so that it can be available to the public.
Thank you. Christine?
I'd like to make a motion to include the document titled Summary of Library Funding and Staffing, authored by Jerry Mahoney, with the changes stating that it's a district reference group to be included.
Okay, is there a second?
Claire Belenko, I'll second that.
Thank you, Claire. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye, raise your hand at the same time, that's helpful.
Can you clarify again, what are we doing exactly?
If you can repeat that,
It's the staffing and the funding
Oh, yes,
document that we
yeah, yeah.
discussed last
just
time.
moving it on.
I'll put it in.
Okay, let's try this again. Could you raise your hand so I can see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Claire also, did you get Claire?
Claire?
My hand's up as
8.
well.
Thank you. Opposed? Abstaining? Okay. 3 abstaining. Thank you. New business. Is there new business I don't know about?
This is Corbin and Gigade. I don't know that it's new business. I should have brought up earlier. Are we gonna do the March 5th and February 13th minutes today?
Not today, unless someone were to make a motion, and we're already past that, but we will get all of them in the next meeting.
In the next meeting?
Everything will be
Okay.
taken care of.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, which minutes are those?
It's February 13th,
The 13th?
That was the regular meeting.
and the most recent one, which is March 5th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and February 13th will require a lot of reading ahead of time, so you might want to start now. Okay. Public participation. Once again, it's amazing. Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? We are adjourned, and the time is 7:51. It's a miracle. Okay.
Thanks, everyone, have a good night.